And we've been in a series called Free Indeed. If anyone who hasn't been there, it's an idea that in the Bible, it says, Jesus says, whom the Son sets free is free indeed. And the idea of being free indeed in our lives, and with all the stresses and responsibilities and burdens that we face, it's a very hard concept sometimes to really be free indeed. The first time we met, we talked about a man who was paralyzed or who was sick by a pool for 30 years, and he was hopeless, and he was laying there, and Jesus came up to him and he asked him, when he came to this man in the middle of the darkest place, there was no hope in that place. One person in every couple months would get healed, but there was hundreds, imagine, of sick, hurting, broken people. Jesus went right into that place. Nobody in there deserved Jesus to come into that place, but he loved them enough to go into that place. And he went up right to this man who's been there for 30 years, and he just asked him, do you want to get better? And that was the question that we had to ask ourselves. Anyone here who's stuck in like an addiction, stuck in depression, just stuck in a life that you didn't want it for yourself. You got to let God ask you, do you even want to get better? Because if you really want to get better, there's certain things in our life that we would do that reflects that we actually want to get better. And that's what we wrestled with. Last 12-2, we talked about being free from the way, living life, focused on the way you see yourself versus the way that God sees us. And the freedom that exists when you let yourself be defined and your identity be defined by the way that Jesus sees you and loves you and designed you and created you for. Today, to close out this Free Indeed series, we're going to take it a step further. All that would be really nice, it would be really powerful, it would be really encouraging. But if it wasn't real life, and there wasn't somebody who really felt like God indeed freed them, and changed them, and chased after them, and pursued them, and changed the whole story of their life, we want to show you guys a story of somebody that I love dearly who wants to share their testimony. And that's their story of how Jesus came and freed them and changed their life forever. And that's Marlon. So I'm going to invite Marlon to the stage. So in any community, in any group, in any small group, there's always just somebody that just the way they are, right? They don't try to do anything special. They don't try to say the right things. They're just genuine. And there's something special about them. The way they smile is something special about them. Their character, there's something special about them. And that's been Marlon. And I'm really excited for him to share his testimony. And I want everyone in the room to know it's not easy to be really transparent. It's not really easy to be genuine. It's not really the people to see the skeletons that you're scared about in your closet. But in Jesus' name, those skeletons, God, His love, when you accept Him into your heart, says there's no record of your wrongs. Jesus makes you brand new. He redeems you, redeems your value, redeems your purpose, redeems your story. So we're excited. I'm going to pray for Marlon, and we're going to have him share. Dear Heavenly Father, Lord, I just want to thank you so much for this time where our hearts are open. And I pray in Jesus' name, Lord, everyone in this room's heart is open. But just for a minute, Lord, they allow themselves to just be quiet, just to listen to you, just to look for what you're trying to tell them. And I pray that same prayer for Marlon, Lord. I pray as he's up here, Lord, that his worry about how he comes off or how he looks or what he says, Lord, all that disappears. Instead, Lord, it's a time for his heart and what Jesus has been pouring into his heart to speak to all of us. That it's just not even Marlon up here, it's just Jesus speaking through him. So I just pray you anoint his words, Lord. You just carry him through this. You give him a warm feeling in his heart because he knows that you're always there. We love you in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen. God is good. Amen. Amen. Is this thing on?
Yeah.
Okay. Good evening, everybody. I'm very thankful to be here tonight, and I'm glad that you all made it here tonight. Like Fareed was saying, I just was blessed with this wonderful opportunity to share my story, and it's very humbling to do it, so I appreciate just having your attention. It wasn't very easy to get up here, and I put a lot of time and effort into it, and eventually I just came to the decision to actually share my story. I wanted to talk about some other stuff, but that really just prepared me for tonight. And so it's my honor and my pleasure to share with you a little bit about my life. Growing up in high school, I had a plan about what I wanted to do. Before I get into that, I just really have to take the time and just say, I thank you. I'm very thankful for this group and the many wonderful parts of it. And, it's due to the great people like Fareed, Adrian, and Melissa on the leadership team. she gave her testimony about over a year ago, and that really inspired me and encouraged me to just let me know, like, this is real. This is a real group. God is real, and there's other people that are struggling and going through stuff just like you are. We're not alone. And so I'm just thankful that I found this community, and I just hope that we can continue to build it and grow it. Back to my story a little bit. I've just been really so moved and so changed by life. And, the original message that I wanted to preach on was just loving God with all your heart, all your mind, with all your soul, and with all your strength. I just feel like that ties in beautifully with my story, as I hope you will see as I explain it to you. So I'm in high school, right? I'm trying to make a plan of where I see myself a year from now, 5 years, 10 years. And, I'm doing good. I think I got it all planned out. Life is going to be good. I'm going to have to work at it, but I know I could be successful, comfortable, and, I make some decisions to try to set myself up for that, right? So I decided to go down to school in Tallahassee, Florida, to study pharmacy. I wanted to help people, and, I really enjoy talking to older people because I know they have a lot of good wisdom, and that's what I need. So I decided to go down to Florida and study pharmacy. My first semester, I was doing good. I ended up making an honor roll. I had a study group going because other people saw how successful I was. And, it just felt good to be recognized and have that little bit of popularity, I guess. But at the same time, I still wanted to be more comfortable. So I was just really trying to figure out what it was I was needing. I had a need, but I couldn't figure out how to fill that void. And I believe, like, the whole time, I was a Christian. I was raised a Christian. My mom always taught me to have good values and to be respectful and well-mannered, all that good stuff. But I didn't have a real relationship with God. I just saw him more as like something I could kind of use to my benefit. And it took me a long time, and I went through a lot of ups and downs before I really, really developed that relationship. So as I was doing good in school, I had a great first semester. I come back home, and I tell my mom right off the bat, I'm like, yeah, I know I did good, but don't expect that next semester. I don't know what's going to happen. So I end up going back for the spring semester, and the classes get tougher. I start enjoying the college life a little more. I'm feeling good. I was successful. Now I'm trying to get more comfortable. And that was where things started to go downhill. Classes started to get tougher. My grades started sliding, and I didn't really know what to do. And I would pray once in a while, but like I said, I really didn't have a good church community. I wasn't reading the Bible, and I just had huge voids in my life that I was trying to look for all these other ways to try to fill it. And it's really tough sometimes because it's right in front of you, but you don't take the time to acknowledge it and seek it out. There was a few times, there were people that crossed my path that if I would have reached out to them as much as they reached out to me, my life might have been a little different. But, I was just so focused on myself, being selfish, and trying to be successful and be comfortable my way. But, God was calling me. He had a different calling for my life. And it took me a while before I saw it, but I'm glad that I did. But I had to go through a lot to get there. And one of those experiences was around spring break time. Some of my friends, they're trying to plan this trip. Oh, come on, let's go to the beach, spring break, get your mind off those bad grades. Just enjoy yourself. You can be free, they said. And so I decided to go, I'm in Florida, why not? It's a beach, it's a perfect opportunity. I don't see anything wrong with it. So I end up going there, and I should have really been back in my dorm room studying the whole week, getting all that late work that I had done. But no, I just wanted to relax and just try to take my mind off of things. And it's not always a good thing to take the easy way out, because it's not really as easy as you think it is. And so, with that being said, I decided to go down to the beach for spring break, party it up with my friends. We had a good time. Everything was off to a good start. And then, all of a sudden, there's a knock on the hotel room door. I'm the only one there. and I get caught with a whole bunch of stuff that I didn't even know that all this stuff was being brought there. Of course, I had an idea of some of the stuff that was there, but I had no knowledge of everything. There was just like so much stuff that I got in trouble for. But you know, by God's grace, I was able to get out of it with just a little slap on the wrist. And I'm so thankful for that. But at the time, I just took it for granted, you know. I was down there partying, doing things my way, enjoying my life, but then bam, everything came to a screeching halt. And I really wasn't sure what was going to happen to me. At the time, it was like, wow, I never got in any trouble like this before. So it was very tough for me to just sit back and take it in. I didn't know what to expect. But like I said, God had his hands on my life the whole time. His fingerprints were always there. He never left me once. And if that's you here tonight, I just want you to know if you're struggling with anything, you know, you feel like you're in something you can't get out of, you're struggling, or some kind of addiction, or any kind of anxiety, it could be anything. We all have issues. But God is there. He's there, trust me. Even when you can't see him or feel him, he's there.
Amen.
And so I ended up just getting a slap on the wrist for my actions. You know, this was stuff that I really saw as like life-threatening almost. My life could have taken a completely different turn. But things just worked out. And I got away with a lot of stuff that, you know, I'm very thankful for. But I didn't really get away with it because sin has consequences.
Yeah.
Yes, it does.
For a long time, it haunted me, and it just plagued my thoughts, and I kind of realized it, but at the same time, I just took the situation for granted because, hey, I got away. Everything was okay. I could go back to my life, but now I have to go back to school with this thing that just happened, and no, everyone doesn't know about it, but it feels like it. I still have to walk to class, be the same person, still try to struggle through the end of the semester, and it was really tough. And so I ended up changing my major the next semester, thinking, okay, maybe that's what I could do to give myself a fresh start, you know, a new edge. But that wasn't it. I knew I needed to change something, but I didn't know what it was. So I was just trying all these different little things to maybe see if that was it. But like I said, I didn't have a church community. I wasn't reading my Bible, and I was just trying to pray to God to get stuff that I wanted. But once I got it, that was it. I was good. So then my second year of college, I start off doing okay, but then things go up and downhill. I get a little comfortable again because of my success that I'm having with my grades. And I end up falling back into some old habits, some old sins, things that I knew I probably shouldn't be doing, but I felt like doing them anyway because I could get away with it. I've already gotten away with it once, so now I'm kind of starting to feel a little invincible. But, you know, God has a plan. And even when you're not listening, even when you ignore him as much as I did, completely turn my back and just wanted to do things my own way, God still loved me. He still cared. He died on the cross before I did any of that stuff, and before anyone else does anything that they know is wrong or they're not even sure of is wrong. But you just have to have faith. And my faith was very weak at this time. So I'm going through life, I'm struggling, and I'm trying to find a way to fill this void that I have. I know I'm missing something, but everything that I'm trying is not working, it's not filling it, it's still there. So I'm trying to look for different ways to fill it and just trying to just do my own thing. I think I can solve all my problems for some reason. And so I'm going through school again, and times are hard, and I know there were certain things I didn't want to do, but it was hard to stay out of it. It's easier to get out, it's easier to stay out than get out. So once you start going down the wrong road, it's really tough. And I just felt really, really bad about the thing that happened last year, so I definitely didn't want it to repeat again. But I'm still doing a lot of the same things that I was doing before. And I kept getting stuck in this cycle over and over again. And I was so oblivious to the fact, like the writing was on the wall, it's right in front of my face, but I didn't want to read it for what it was. But I'm still hanging out with the same friends, and so spring break comes up again. Now, I already know what happened last spring break, and I definitely don't want to repeat it. Like, they're encouraging me, they're trying to get me to go back again, they're like, come on, it'll be different. You already know what you did last time, so you know how to get around it, try to cut corners, but I ended up going back against my own will. Well, it was with my will. I ended up going back to the beach again. And this time I was like, I'm not going to let anything happen. I'm just going to stay in my own bubble, not let anything happen. And I stayed in the room for like half the week. But then by the time Friday rolls around, there's parties at the beach like every day. This is spring break we're talking about. So it's very hard to be around this atmosphere and just stay in the room sun up to sun down, just like standing on the balcony. That's your only taste of this amazing spring break you're supposed to be enjoying, right? And so finally they encouraged me to get out of the room on Friday, and then that's when things get a little out of hand and I get in trouble again. And this time I'm like, oh man, this is it. I got in trouble a year ago, so now things are going to be even worse. There's no way I'm going to get out of this one easy. But thanks to God's grace, somehow, some way, it made everything even better than it was before. I got off scot-free, slap on the wrist. Everything that was on my record before this canceled out along with this. And so by God's grace, I was saved and my slate was wiped clean. And I'm just so thankful for it. But at the time, I didn't see it that way. I just saw it as like, hey, okay, that's cool. They just wanted their money, that's it. So I go back to school again. I'm kind of feeling bad about what happened, but at the same time, I feel like I'm invincible a little bit. I got away with all this stuff. What's the worst that can happen to me now? And so I end up getting comfortable again, but at the same time, I'm not feeling any kind of success because my grades are terrible, because I'm doing all this stuff that's distracting me from what I should be doing at school. So by the end of the spring semester, I decided to move back home, thinking, okay, maybe that'll be the change that I need. Maybe that'll give me that extra spark and just get me back in a good mindset. But I still wasn't involved with the good church community. I still wasn't reading my Bible. And I was still missing a very, very key ingredient of the Christian life. But at the time, I'm completely oblivious to the fact. Even though, Grace was right down the street. I used to go there before I moved away. And there's just so many opportunities that I had to do better things with my time, but I chose not to do them. I tried to take the easy way, tried to cut corners. And now I'm coming back to school up here, and now I'm starting to find a little more success, and I'm getting a little more comfortable. It's almost starting to feel like my fall semester of freshman year again. And I'm at a good point in my life, and I get comfortable and thinking, okay, this is where I want to be. Now I can handle it. I see like I've conquered all this stuff. I'm doing good. Let's do it. I'm going to be successful. I'm going to be comfortable. I'm going to enjoy life. But I still had a void inside of me. It always comes back at the worst time. You think everything's going good. But there's just something about life that God is calling you. And even though you try to ignore him, you try to hide, he always finds a way to find you. He's always there. He's never leaving you. And so in the midst of all my success, my comfortability, then I come back home, I change my circle a little bit, but then I end up in the same situation again. This time, it's my friend's birthday party. And I'm thinking, okay, this should be good. It's people I know. It's not like college, random beach with people from all over the world. These are people that I know, I grew up with. So I'm thinking that things will be different. But, I slide back into old habits that I'm not even used to doing anymore. And so things get more out of hand than they have in the past. And I end up getting in trouble again for a third time. And there's something about this cycle that keeps going on over and over and over again. And it hurts to see me going through it myself and to see other people going through it. Like, nobody wants to end up that way. No one wants to do stuff that they know that they shouldn't be doing. There's just so many opportunities that we have to do positive things with our lives, but we get too caught up in just trying to be comfortable or successful in our own terms. But there's just so much more to life. And, just having a good Christian community and reading the Bible, praying, having that relationship with God is just very, very important.
Yeah.
But I didn't see that yet. And I was starting to get to that point now, because now I'm getting in trouble again, and this is the worst ever. I'm like, no, there's no way that this could happen. There's absolutely no way I could be stuck in this position again. And this time, it's even worse. Like, there is no slap on the wrist this time. It's not going to happen. And I ended up, I'm at a party. I see a lot of people. I haven't seen them in a long time. I'm feeling good, feeling happy. And things get so out of control that I can't even remember the whole night. And I end up getting arrested, but I didn't even realize it until I woke up the morning after. So I wake up in a jail cell, like, where am I? This isn't where I expected to wake up. And, it was very hard. It was very cold, very dark in there. That was the darkest time of my life. And, the food was terrible, and just the isolation and everything, it's horrible. It was the worst feeling, worst experience ever. But I felt like this was like the least trouble that I've ever actually caused, so why am I getting punished so harshly for it? And it just felt so bad, and just like, I was so confused and so lost. I didn't even know how to read what was going on. I felt stupid, like, how did I get here? And all these lies are just pouring into my head, and all these doubts and depression. It was bad. It was very bad. But I want to let you know that no matter what, even though you might have things that come against you, opposition, we all make mistakes. Nobody's perfect. But there is someone who is, and he died on the cross for your sins. Yeah. So knowing that and just having that reassurance, it definitely will help you get through a time like that. But for me, I really had to wrestle with that. I really, really had to wrestle with that for a long time. I wanted to be Marlon. Oh, I conquered all this stuff on my own. I did it my way. This is how I'm going to be. This is what I want to do. But, I realized after all these times of me getting in trouble, and now, like, it really, really getting serious, that's when I decided I had to let go and let God. That's when I realized I had to surrender, give my life to Jesus. I got down and I prayed. I could literally feel my mom crying for me. I could feel God crying out for me. It just felt terrible. Me just stuck here in this place. This is where I'm not supposed to be. Like, how did I get here? Why am I here? But God has a plan and a purpose for your life. And He works all things out for those who believe in Him.
Yeah.
And just so, going through that whole experience and being stuck there in this dark, my lowest moment of my life, I had to call on God. I'm like, okay, this is it. I see what you're trying to do now. Hi, God. I'm picking up the phone. I'm answering the call. Please, Lord, I surrender. I give my life to you. Please get me out of here. But I hear you now. I repented. I really had to repent and recognize that I was completely ignoring God, disobedient, and I was just so selfish. And, once I really prayed, had deep conversation, meditated with God, it just completely uplifted my spirits and changed my life for the better. I really learned a lot from that moment. I wish I would have learned the same lesson the first time I got in trouble, or before I even got in trouble. Everyone knows somebody else has been in trouble or gone through something. Why can't we learn from them, right? I was so hard-headed. So hard-headed. And I'm just so thankful that after a while, I woke up. God never left me. He was always there the whole time with His hands on my life. And He had to get a tight grip. I wrestled with God. Like Jacob wrestled with God? That's how I was at my lowest point. I was literally wrestling with this. I knew who God was, but I wasn't ready to give my life up to Him. There were some parts I would let Him in, but once He made me successful, then that's when I would back away and just say, okay, I got it from here. But, once I decided to give my life to Jesus and just acknowledge how much love and how much care, how much passion He has for me, that's when I realized how much love and compassion I should also have for Jesus. Yeah. And it's with that I like to say, please love the Lord your God with all your heart, with all your mind, with all your soul, and with all your strength. Amen. And love your neighbors as yourself. Those are the two greatest commands. And once I really started to believe that and put that into practice, life just gets so much better. That's when you really get to feel free. That's when you get to be successful, you feel comfortable, or you could get comfortable being uncomfortable. Sometimes God puts you in uncomfortable situations like this. Right. But, you know, at the same time, this is one of the more successful and comfortable moments I've ever had, and I'm just so thankful to be able to share my story and my life with you all here tonight. Praise God.
Amen. That was powerful. As he was speaking, I just felt like God kind of just like resonating something in my heart. There's so many lies that are told out in the world today that so many of us believe, okay? The lies are like all over the place. One of the lies is like, if you're successful and you really make it, you're going to be so happy. Life's going to be so good. I made it. I can settle down and enjoy life. I'm going to be so happy. If that's true, why are there so many successful CEOs, doctors, lawyers who are committing suicide all over the world? Yeah. There's this lie that's like, your talents, if they get noticed, and you're on the biggest stage in the world, and everyone acknowledges how great you are and how talented you are, and then you're going to be so happy. If that's the case, why are there so many multi-million-dollar musicians, the best of our generation, committing suicide every day? There's some people in this room today, you believe in the lie that if you find that perfect person to love, and you get them to love you back, and you guys settle down together, that's going to make your life so good. You're going to be so happy. But then what happens when you guys break up? What happens when you guys get in a fight, and things aren't going so well? What happens when you find that perfect person, and then you realize they're not that perfect? There's so many lies in this world that steal our real peace, purpose, joy, and the reason we were created from us. They send us off on all these goose chases. We start running for things after things after things, and as more and more of those things fail us, we find ourselves in a deeper and a deeper and a deeper hole. And I think that's what Marlon's story really spoke to me. You see, he had no intentions of his life going awry. He had no intentions of things going wrong, right? He didn't deserve to get in trouble. He didn't have intentions of getting in trouble. If it was up to him, everything would have been much better. And the thing that's crazy is, you make the mistake, you get fooled once, and then you hit rock bottom, and then you get convinced to do it again and again in a different way. But the truth is, the only way that we're going to find the real purpose that we were designed to have, the real satisfaction we're designed to have, the real loving relationship that we're all craving, is that relationship with Jesus Christ. And that makes me want to jump on one of the biggest lies that there ever was told in this world, that everyone holds on to, and every world religion tries to teach you. And that's, God doesn't love you unless you're lovable enough. God doesn't love you unless you fix yourself up, and you clean yourself up, and you stop sinning, you stop making those dumb mistakes, you stop chasing those girls and guys, you stop doing those drugs, you stop spending those nights alone in your room with the computer, doing things you wish nobody else knew. When you stop doing that, and then maybe God will love you, and then maybe God will love you enough to use you, and then maybe God will love you enough to accept you into heaven. That's a lie that's told all over the place. And that's what I want to share with you guys in Hebrews 12:2. Actually, I'm going to start with Romans. It tells you that Jesus Christ didn't die for us once we were righteous, and once we were cleaned up, once we were good. It says, while we were still sinners, and while we were still far from Him, He loved you enough to go step up on that cross and die on our behalf. That's right. It talks about us like in our struggle against sin. It says not even one of us, you guys aren't even struggling to the point of shedding a drop of your blood. I want to tell you guys something. There was no breaking point in Jesus' love for us that when He was getting tortured, and He was getting mocked, and He was getting spit on and smacked on, He didn't say, okay, I love that person this much, but when they start bringing the whips, okay, I'm going to just walk away from the cross. There was no breaking point in Jesus' love for you. No matter how dirty we are, how broken we are, how sinful we are, how confused we are, Jesus Christ is still pursuing us recklessly. He's chasing after us. He's using everything in our lives to say, listen to me, look to me. What you're doing is taking you far away from me. And the moment in our life sometimes when we hit rock bottom and we realize our sin for what it is, and we feel guilty, and then we look up and we see God so far away, that's a turning point moment right there. Because if the devil had his way, when you realize how messed up your life has become, how much in a hole you are, and you see how far away God is, you start thinking to yourself, man, I am hopeless. I am so far away from who God would love. You know, I might as well just accept my sin right now and just kind of coast and be broken. Because I'm so far away from God, I'm so messed up. But I want everyone in the room to know, when we're feeling that moment in our heart, when we realize something's missing in your life, that satisfaction you're looking for is missing, you know, that thing you're doing in your life is destroying you spiritually, God is using those moments to say, listen, come to me, come to my arms, run to me, I'm here for you. He's on pursuit for you. And you don't even have to run all the way to God. God will meet you more than halfway. And the prodigal son, you see Jesus, the man ran out and put a robe and a ring and loved this guy before he even came close to explaining himself. You don't even have to explain yourself. You just got to say, Jesus, I'm broke down. Jesus, my way of living has not been leading me to you. I'm hopeless, I'm broken, my sin is raining havoc in my life. I invite you to come into my heart. I know that you paid the price for me, I don't have to pay the price. That you died on the cross because you love me and my sins separated me from you forever and needed a payment. And Jesus Christ, I accept for what you did for me on my behalf. And I invite you to take hold of my life and to help me change whatever is going on in my life. Can we have Kara come up on the keys? What I want to do is I want to hand the mic back to Marlon. And I want anyone in this room right now who just feels like, man, like, you know, that lie of the world that, you know, this is what's going to make me happy. This is what's going to make me satisfied. This is what I should be living for. That relationship's what I should be living for. This is your moment right now when you realize that's not what I'm looking for. That is not going to accomplish that satisfaction I'm looking for. That's not going to accomplish the purpose that God created me for. That's not going to be that relationship that Jesus offers us that will change my whole life. I want to give you this opportunity to accept Jesus Christ into your life, into your heart, into your situations, into your brokenness, into the middle of your sin. I want to invite you to say, Jesus Christ, I know you're real, and I'm going to take whatever steps I need to take to get close enough to you so you can hold on to me. Even if I had to take one step, Lord, I promise you, I just want to take one step. Show me the rest of the way. Marlon, would you lead us in prayer, please?
Dear Lord, Heavenly Father, I thank you that we're able to come to you at any time with any need. Thank you for sending Jesus to die on the cross for our sins, long before we ever even knew who he was. I thank you for washing away our sins, wiping the slate clean, and making us holy and righteous in your sight. Lord, I just want to ask that if there's anyone out here that's far away from you, or they're not as close as they want to be, Lord, that you'll just grab a hold of their life, Lord. Please surround them in your love. Lord, please just hug us tight, hold us near. You know, Lord, we don't even understand how much we need you. We need you every hour. Oh, do we need you, Lord? And I'm just so thankful that you're always there. No matter how far away or how distant we may feel away, you're always right there. You're staring at us the whole time. And Lord, I just pray that you'll just open up our hearts, Lord, and just please fill us with the Spirit. Lord, I'm so thankful for everything that you've done and just everything that you're going to do. You know, thank you for giving life a purpose and a meaning, and thanks for having the plan. Even when we can't see it, Lord, you already know. I'm just so thankful to be here tonight and just to let you speak through me, Lord. I just hope that your light continues to shine and that you may get all the glory. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen. I'm going to invite everyone to stand to their feet. And we're going to just close the last couple minutes and just kind of worship and remind ourselves that God is a reckless love for us, that he's chasing us down, and there's nothing in our lives that can hold us back from the love that Jesus Christ has for us. And before we get into worship, I want to read you guys a verses in Psalm 139, verses 7 through 12. It says, where can I go from your spirit? It says, where can I flee from your presence? If I go up to the heavens, you are there. And if I make my bed in the depths, you are there. If I rise on the wings of the dawn, if I settle on the far side of the sea, it says, even there, God, your hand will guide me. Your right hand will hold me fast. If I say, surely the darkness will hide me, and the light becomes night around me, even the darkness will not be dark to you. The night will shine like the day, for darkness is as light to you. Wherever we go, wherever we find ourselves, God's love is never never too far away. God's pursuit of us is never too weak. It's never not enough. So I just want to remind everyone in this room, no matter where you are in your life or your walk with Christ, just remind yourself, it's not that God is not pursuing you because He's pursuing you. It's not